And over here you have... what is this? A mishmash, hodgepodge of many different pieces of art. I see, okay. I'm very distracted and excitable and altogether exhilarated by such an exuberant display. Very, very colorful, to say the least. Hey everyone, my name's JetFalco. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm an artist who's been doing conventions and events since about 2015, so almost 10 years now, and I have a lot of different pieces of advice and tips and tricks for artists trying to figure out how to display their art, how to sell their art, how to do art as a business. And in this video, we're gonna go through the interesting, effective way I display my art at a convention. So this is it. With balance, nothing's crooked. For the most part, right? Most importantly, if you followed along with my previous tutorial video on how to display your art, no glare, which is super important for art pieces that are so detailed like these. Compilation pieces as well with over 50 characters, as you can see. Let me break it down for you in a few little B-roll clips here as we go through, and we're gonna talk about how I came up with this display, all the tools that I use, how honestly efficient and cheap it can be, and little tips and tricks that might come up along the way, all right? So thank you so much for joining me in this video, and let's get right down to it. So let's get started by introducing you to my trusty, tried and true backdrop display stand. Now this is a little bit bigger than the run-of-the-mill backdrop display stand you can just find anywhere. Most of those are gonna be 8 foot by 8 foot, but this is a 10 by 10, so it can fill out those bigger convention booths a little nicer. It's durable and it's long lasting. I left a link in the description if you wanna get one for yourself. And here we have the modified version of the crossbar that goes across the top of the stand. I actually don't use these to hang up the art like you might think, because if you do that, it's really easy for the bottom of the columns to get crooked the way we are setting up our art. I use these rings in tandem with the jump ring and these little clamps that actually come with the original curtain rod rings that backdrops come with. These are the original curtain rod rings, and they are just terrible. I don't know why they come with backdrop stands, but you'll find them with most backdrop stands when you order them. They're too small, they're kind of awkward, and the angle is not perpendicular. So once you hang something, it's gonna be sideways. You don't want that, so that's why we use them in tandem with the jump rings. So all together, the jump ring connected to, not these pieces of crap, these better rod rings, create a perfectly perpendicular hanging mechanic, except we're not gonna use them to hang the prints from. They're simply there to stabilize the columns. But now you're asking, what do I actually hang the prints from? Well, these classic old bad boys, binder rings. You can find these at any office supply store, or in the link in the description, of course. And I only use one binder ring per column for that perfect gravity-influenced balance. But I don't just poke a hole through the print itself, no way. I use what we in the business call a pop clip mini rail. So this little thing here, it's pretty nifty. A lot of artists like to use them because they look professional, but they do like to use them on the top and the bottom of every print, and I think that's a little too excessive. So we're just gonna use one at the very top of each column. So with the mini snap rail at the top with the little loop in the middle, and then 2 pieces of tape on the side, the entire print column will hang sturdy and be stabilized. And you don't even really need a snap rail. You can just use a nice piece of cardboard or something to keep the top of the column nice and straight so it doesn't get bent from the moisture in the air or the wind or anything, because once you get them up there, the added weight of the prints will start to curl the entire column. Like a nice sturdy straight edge at the top of your column is going to keep everything looking nice and neat towards the bottom of each column. But the mini snap rail is a pretty easy way to go if you can order these online, but you can still get this done with a ruler, you know, or something that's a hard straight edge you can put at the top of your column. What I like to do with your straight edge, whatever it may be, affix it with some tape, some very good tape, packaging tape or Gaffers tape or duct tape, something that's not going to fall apart, just so you stabilize it and get it nice and straight. So this right here is the snap rail that I use to connect to the top of my art. And then in the back of it, I also attach some sturdy cardboard. So not just the very top of the print column is sturdy and straight, but the entire like first 3 inches of the
top is nice and stabilized. And I do this for every column as well. With enough tape and enough cardboard and your straight edge at the top, your print columns are going to last a long time, and they're not going to curl. See how straight they are? They're not going to curl no matter how much moisture is in the air. Honestly, if you get the very top of your art columns very stabilized, the rest of the display is going to follow suit. Now let's take a look at a column of art in action at a convention. So here at the very top, you'll see that those curtain rod rings are just there to support the column to keep it from wavering back and forth or getting crooked, while the binder ring in the middle with the loop on the mini snap rail, that's what it hangs from to keep it exactly straight with gravity. If you measure the very middle of 11 inches for each print, it's 5.5. So put that thing at 5.5 inches, your print columns are never going to get crooked. And you'll see how much tape I use in the back. Use packaging tape. It's tested, tried and true. And honestly, unless you really tug at it, your prints will never fall if they're protected with packaging tape. Or you can use duct tape. Sure, duct tape is great. Just don't use painter's tape. Oh my God. I gotta say to every display video that I do not use painter's tape. The blue stuff, the green stuff, even masking tape, the white stuff. All of that is paper, and the adhesive on that side is basically a cheap dollar store sticker. That's all it is. So do not use that. The weight of 2 prints alone is enough to peel off the adhesive for painter's tape, because painter's tape is made for painters. It's made to be removed. So do not use painter's tape. Painter's tape is the worst possible tape you can use to set up your display. It's gonna fall. Every convention, there's at least 1 or 2 displays that will fall because they use painter's tape. Okay, rant over. Don't use painter's tape. It's made for painters to remove tape and make clean lines. That's all it's for. It's not made to hang stuff, okay? Rant over, officially over. Okay, now let's just watch a time lapse of setting up the entire display. Here we go. It's already going? Oh, it's already going on? Perfect. And it's done. Awesome. And now you're starting to see how all that preparation to get the thing made is going to make setup and teardown at every show so much faster, so much easier. People tell me at every show how fast I am especially at tearing down. I can tear this thing down, the entire backdrop display, in less than 5 minutes. Yeah. Without breaking anything, too. And setup is only about maybe 15 minutes at most. But that's only if I have the print backdrop. But if I have any other backdrops, I'm going to be maybe 3 hours. 3 hours tops. That's not bad, right? So if I have my blankets and my banners and my canvas prints, oh yeah, it'll take like 3 hours to set up my backdrop. But this backdrop, 10 to 15 minutes tops to get this thing up, and then 5 minutes for teardown. Is that something you'd like to experience at your backdrop display setup, at your Artist Alley table? I think you would. I'm here to help you out, to take a lot more stress load off your back so that you can have an easy, fun day selling your art at conventions. That's why I'm here. So if you want to follow along and see more episodes like this, more tutorials and tips and tricks on how to do art, just let me know. So as you can tell, I used binder clips to hold the prints up in short columns before I extend them when I lift it up. That helps so much to keep the thing clean. You do not want to get this thing on the dirty floor of every convention or fairgrounds or even malls. There are some dirty floors out there at these events, so keep your art clean, kids. Stay in school. So now you see how stable and how straight and uncrooked everything is. I mean, it's not perfect, but it beats the hell out of my display setup before that I used to have with just clips at the top. And when you just use clips at the top, everything could be crooked. You have one clip off by 2 millimeters, the entire column is crooked by the time you get to the bottom of it. And when you look at it from far away, the entire thing could be messed up. So this way, if you hang them from the middle, you don't even have to use the entire tutorial. But if you just hang your print columns from the middle, you'll be fine. Everything will be straight and nice and neat. And then you don't have to use print bags because the glare just makes everything harder to look at. And honestly, as soon as I got rid of the print bags, the sheet protectors for my display, just got rid of them and started taping the backs of my display pieces, my sales went up 30%. I kid you not. And that's lowballing it. When people see something that's not obstructed by glare, they want to see it up close. When they see something that's far away that's obstructed by glare, they're like, oh, I can't see it. It just looks like a window. I can't see what's on the other side of the window. Get rid of the glare, make more sales. It's that simple. It's a simple equation, kids. And it's kind of a simple display once you get it up. Look at this thing. It's gorgeous, right? This is one of the best display things that I could come up with in my few years of experience and my limited knowledge of geometry and engineering. This is a pretty nifty display, but something to keep in mind, these things can get very tall, very high, and very unstable if you don't have the right equipment and the right setup. So no matter what you do, be safe. Practice safety first. Make sure that if you're gonna go high, that you're stable, that you're weighted down near the bases with some sandbags or something, and make sure that the thing won't turn into a sailboat, because things get windy out there, kids, especially when people are rushing behind your table and things could fall over, people could trip, things turn into sailboats with all that wind out there, so please be careful. And you're always welcome to make this thing look even more beautiful or fit your own aesthetic at your Artist Alley table with some curtains clipped behind it or some glittery stuff on the side or some lights, but make sure that you are doing it safely so it doesn't become a sail, okay? Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this thing. I mean, it's not perfect. It's one of the most effective and efficient solutions that I've come up with. I have a few other how to display your art at Comic-Con videos that I've put up, but this most recent one has been the longest standing and honestly the best display setup I've come up with so far, that I'm the most satisfied with. There's no glare. That is one of the biggest complaints that I had, but it's kind of annoying to see someone's art covered with glare, because in live event venues or even outdoor shows, there's a lot of light sources and they're all gonna shine on anything that's reflective and make it hard to see through the plastic sheeting that I used to use when it came to displaying my art on the wall. So modifying it, mix and match, moving things around takes a lot longer. You can't just pull it out of the sheet protector and move it somewhere else anymore. It's much easier to look at, but it is a lot harder to modify. So if I get a new print done and I want it displayed front and center, I'm gonna have to shift things around and it's gonna take a lot more work. So this display, it's not too bad. I like it. It's very efficient, it's very balanced. If you hang something from the middle, it will always be level with the earth and the forces of gravity, okay? So never more have I struggled with any sort of imbalance or crooked lines. That was one of the most annoying things with trying to come up with a good display, was the crooked lines. But now, as you can see, everything is pretty much all straight on. And if you get enough space in between, you can see, you let gravity do your work for you. And the binder clips and the binder rings will do the rest of it. And as long as you have something to support, you don't need to have those extra clips on each side of the pop clip rail like I showed you. That's just so they don't twist or turn with the wind or people walking by. Those extra clips and the rings on the sides, combined with the binder ring on the top, those will keep it nice and even. Otherwise, you could clip with those big spring clamp clips a curtain behind or a big piece of fabric. That will keep things level. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial or walkthrough breakdown of my display. And if you did, thank you so much for sticking it out and hanging out with me. And I hope you learned something. If you did, let me know in the comments, subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do to keep letting me know that you want to see more artist instructional tips, tricks, because I've been doing this, like I said, for almost 10 years now. I've been doing conventions since 2015, so I am so ready to share all the different little secret advice that I've learned throughout the years. I'm not going to gatekeep any of it, so if you want to know, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions at all, I'm here to help. Once again, I've been JetFalco, and I will see you in the next one.